Hello, this is Pat Kelly of the Lusk Heritage Group, and I'm very pleased to introduce another recorded interview in a series wherein the Heritage Group captures the memories of interesting people in our community. Barney Greene of the Man o' War is certainly such a man. The Man o' War is a smallish area with a much longer history than many places of greater prominence. Barney, throughout his life, has been connected to this place of rural roots. I now pass you over to interviewing member Jim Monks.
Okay. In days of old, when hands were cold and tractors weren't enjoyed, to do the work with spade and fork, a man would be employed. Barney, you're such a man. You're the last of the farmers' boys, I think. Anyway, what Hedgestown School?
Yeah, I went to Hedgestown School at 4-year-old. And we walked from here to Hedgestown School and walked home. So there's 9 or 10 more up along the road. There's some of them alive, some of them dead. And we used to, in the summertime, the tar be boiling up on the road, which is not today, unfortunately. But we had sandals on us. We hadn't proper shoes, so we had sandals, which was a great thing them time. But you had a pair of sandals, you were doing well. Because the sandal wouldn't cost a whole lot of money, but the shoe would, you see. That was, yeah. So we used to have the sandals on us if we get the sandals to go to school to keep the tar from getting onto our feet and causing blisters and everything else like that.
Yes.
But yeah, I went to school there in Hedgestown. It would all be mates. A lot of them. Some of them is dead. Some of them still alive. The Muir family, Conleys, Brady's, Peterses, all across there, Hughes, Murphys, all those people, a lot of them are still alive, a lot of them dead. But anyway, I went and I kept going there to school until I was just 14.
Very good. Indeed.
And when I was 14, then I, actually before I was 14, I was working here locally for a man that's dead there in Lusk, Jimmy Rogan. Jimmy owned all this land around here at that time. And I was working with Jimmy, and I was very much into cattle and farming at the time to get involved in that. And before I go to school in the mornings, he had cattle in a barn up here, which a lot of people wouldn't know about today. Barn, a big yard, and a pen in the centre with the hay in it and all the straw and all that. They were loose in the yard. So my job would be in the mornings to go up and feed them cattle, maybe at 7:30 or so. And I'd be going to school for 9 o'clock here. But before I go to school, I go up the road and I let out the cattle, drive them up the road, a few hundred yards, and let them into a field. And when I come home in the evening, then I repeat the dose again, get them ready and all. There was a horse and cart there, I was very much into that. And the next day was, the horse would be out in the field and he would know what I was going to do, and he was very much afraid of the cattle. And I'd get him in the car and I'd gallop around the field for ages. And the next thing was, I'd get him in the car and I'd say, whoa, hold it, whoa, your grand horse, your grand horse. And when I was saying that to him, he didn't realise I was getting the winkers, and I had it up on his head, and yes. I got him. So I had him there, and I yoked him and all. Then we'd more cattle down here at the back of the house. He had, and I used to have to fodder them. Get the hay above in the shed, and throw it onto the cart and bring it down, and drive it down across the field. The pony would walk slowly, and I'd be up on the cart throwing the hay down. Forkful here, the forkful there, maybe right around the whole circle of the field. Mm-hmm. So that was done anyway, and then I came along and I went to work then for Jimmy.
This was after school?
This was after school.
After school, but before that you had your first taste of
it was after school that I was doing that in the evenings.
Yes. So
then, eventually then, when I finished school, I went to work permanently with him. And I was 14 or whatever it was at the time around that. Yeah. And I was not too big even today, but it was very small. I was only about the height of my knee, sort of thing. And bad weather, we'd be counting the cattle, and he'd come up every so many times a week from Lusk, and he'd look at the cattle, and and the gaps would be very mucky and full of muck and water. And he used to get me under his arm like a Jack Russell, and like that, and he'd carry me across the gap out into the field until I got dry footing. I never forgot that. I thought that
Jimmy
was great.
Was a big man.
Jimmy was a big man, as most people would know. So I went to work for him then, and worked for him for a long time. My job then was very much into the cattle, so I started off with the cattle.
Yes.
But one day there was such a thing as Gavin Lowe sales in Balbriggan. I think where the old barracks were, around that area.
Yes, the Bank of Ireland.
Yeah. and used to go to get the cattle here and bring them down to Barbriggan. And there could be up to 20 of them cattle. Now these cattle wouldn't be all belonging to the one person. He was dealing in cattle, and he'd buy 2 off you and 10 off someone else, sort of thing. They were a mixed herd, and they go up the road and they'd want to head home. They'd know where they come from. They come from that road. They want to go down that road. Now I had a shocking job of them. I used to have to run down the road, and by the time I get in front of them to get them back, the other lads was come back to the yard. Oh, such a job, yeah.
No cutlery.
Yeah, there was no cattle, no, not well. There was, but he had them at the time. So used to walk and thing, bring them down to Barbriggan, and the thing was then there was a man, Kit Pallister, I assume, dead too, stood out in the middle of the road and put his hands out with a stick and said, "In here, yeah, right." In there, Barney, go on, put them into the pen, 2 or 3 pens maybe, depending on the amount of cattle you had. I think about 10 cattle to a pen. So anyway, I put them in, and then he gave me the numbers. The auctioneer, whatever, give the numbers, and we get the numbers, and we stick them on the back of the baste. That'd be for auction.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was all done. Sometimes you'd have the cattle the cattle would be all sold, and there'd be a whole new batch to come home with. And then maybe sometimes only a couple of them would be sold, and you'd be bringing back the rest along with a few new ones. So they'd be fighting and arguing coming up the road, the lip over ditches and hedges and all. Oh, such a job. I often sat down the road, saw the road and crying.
Yes.
I'll never get them home. They're all going to stray me. One of the places was over the bog of the ring there, when we coming up the main road from the Knock, going up there for the 5 roads.
Yes.
They get out across the bog there was no fence there. And they get out across there, they go through the plain, the rushes was up for their belly, so I couldn't find the half of them.
Naturally.
I isolated them overnight.
And traffic wasn't a problem on the road?
No problem that time. The cattle was all over the road, and you wouldn't, maybe you only see 1 or 2 cars between Balbriggan and the 5 roads on that route.
Good enough
but
experience. You moved on from Jimmy then?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Different employment.
Pardon?
You moved to different employment.
I went to different employments, yeah. I went, I think the next place I went was to John Monk's in the Nevis. And I was over with John. I was with John for, I suppose I was with him for about 4 or 5 years, I think. Again, I was involved in the horse and cart, putting out dung for early potatoes and all the rest, and the drills that time and all. Another man that lived up the road here beside me, he was working as well. It was him who got me the job, Mick McGuinness, up the road here, Lammers. Yes. So I was involved in the horses there and that, and milking cows. He had 4 or 5 cows. He used to milk the cows, feed the calves, 3 or 4 calves, and he had 3 or 4 pigs, and the pigs very often would be roaring and squealing, and the next thing was we investigated what they were roaring and squealing about. They wasn't hungry because he was a great man to look after his animals, John was, and we looked this morning and said, well, we'll go in barn and see what the hell should have fed them this morning. What's wrong with them? Well, we didn't anyway. Wasn't there a dog? There was a dog. The back of the house, there was a little thatched shed for a little thatched pig cot.
Yes.
And at the back of the pig cot, the garden was level with the eave of the gutter. And that's the way the fall was on the yard. And the dog tore a hole in the thatch and jumped into the pigs. He thought there was something else in it, and it was in the pig cot with him. So that solved that one. Now the other thing was about John was. Every Sunday morning, I had to go over to Sunday morning then after Mass and Lusk, 8:30 Mass and Lusk, go over to the Nevis again on my bicycle, and fixed wheel bicycle, by the way. If anyone knows what that means, that's you could only pedal the one way.
Yes.
But, so come along and rode over to after 9 Mass to the Nevis and brought the cows up with me in the summertime to be out in the field on my way up at the bridge, and milk the cows, do the same again, feed the cats and all. The cats be at the door bad looking for milk, and they'd be meowing at me all the time while I'd be milking the cows and the thing. And this particular Sunday morning I got a bit annoyed about them, and I said, the hell he's roaring and crying about, and looked down and said, you're looking for my milk. So I was milking the cow, and I got one of the cow's spans, and I turned around facing the door, and I drowned 5 cats with it, the milk. There's so you won't be thirsty. Anyway, yeah. So that was all right. Then to come along, he killed his own pig, and poor Christy, other Christy monks then, next door, Christy was the man that killed the pig and slit the throat, and the bat was underneath on the bank, catching the blood coming out of the pig for to make the puddings. Yeah. That was all. That was the done thing. That was grand. And then the meat was all cut up and sliced and salted and put in sacks and hung up over the chimney.
Yes.
So where I used to be going in, I was on the table, as they call it at the time. That meant I was getting food, getting fed.
Yes.
So much wages and getting fed. That was a great thing in them years, because your own family couldn't, the money maybe wouldn't be able to feed you properly or give you plenty of grub.
Right.
So you were on the table, and that was a great thing, you know. It was half the battle. So I used to be saying to John, God, John, says I, there's only about a month there, sure. As far as I can remember back, the pig had to be hanging up for nearly a year or something, salted before you could be taking down a lump of them and slitting them up and having them for the pan.
Yes.
I said to John, God save that lad, Charlie chance of getting a lump of that lad. So he took down the lad anyway, and he says, yes, he says, we're not going to go near as yet, but see, wait till I have a look. So he opened the bag, the sack.
Yes.
And he says, wait till we see. So he took a bit out as he put it up on the table. He said, do you want a bit of this now? Are you sure there you go, this? I said, I will. So he got the knife anyway, and he cut the piece of the pig anyway. And God said, that's grand there, so I give you the bit of fat. So he cut off the bit of fat and gave it to me, and put the rest of the pig back in the bag and hung up with the rest of it. But the fat that I love so much, even to the present day,
Yes.
I will cut all the fat off the bacon here on the plate, and I'll eat the fat first. And whether the bacon's cold or hot, it'll make no difference. I'll eat the fat, but not fat off any other animal.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because there you go, it points out one thing, he was brought up with that.
Well, none of it stuck to you. I
Yeah,
have to say that
yeah.
anyway, for a fact,
So
right.
I was with John then for so many years anyway, and then I went to a man by the name of Paddy Maguire from Rathmooney. That's between
Yes.
Quickpenny and Rathmooney.
Oh,
With
good
him
colour.
then, and I was doing general work there, breasts and ditches and all that around when it was going to be ploughed. A man working at that time was the name of Jimmy Fay.
Yes.
Jimmy Lemmer, he was the horseman, he was the ploughman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be sent out along with somebody else, I forget who it was there. And our job would be to get the slashhook in the morning and the 2-grain fork and a box of matches and a half a bale of straw,
Right.
and go on up to the top field, Barney, and start cutting that ditch, go right around the ditch and pull them out well in the field and set them afire and leave it clean. Jimmy will be going to plough that in a couple of days. That reason for that cutting them briars was that they let the horse and the plough tighter into the
Yes.
ditch, because the briars would go out very far
Get
sometimes.
the extra sod.
Yeah, and well, I'll see the next layer. Who's the next layer? Yeah, I went to Portrand then.
Yes.
Not into it.
Okay.
Outside
Fair
it.
enough.
To work. Portrand was taking on a lot of people at that time. And there's a big crowd of people from Balbriggan and Scourge and everywhere working on stuff. There must be nearly 100 working. And I been into the horses, and he said to me, do you want a bit of horses? We're looking for a couple of horsemen here. The reason for that was that they grew all their own spuds on the pit of them in Turvey here.
Yes.
Pit of them. And big pits, awful lot of pits. And 2 tractors, Ford Ferguson tractors, men from Sowers working the tractors, 3 or 4 tractors, whole field of men. Potatoes was all put in bags, and the bags then was lifted up and thrown into a trap cart and emptied into the cart. So you went up to the pit and you backed into the pit and you pulled the trap. It was a trap cart.
Yes.
Pulled the trap and the spuds tipped up, and away you go again. And I was horseman there, and anyone that was horseman there, you had to know how to work horse, because not anybody would be allowed to work the horse. You had to know about horses before you were allowed to go near the horse.
Yes.
So that being said, that's how I got that job, and there was extra couple of bob for that. So I think my money there at that time was, which was the running thing at that time, that'd be in the back 50s or 60s, it'd be £3.16.
Wealth at the time.
At that time.
How much, tell me that, was a bottle of stout at that time?
I'm not too sure. I wasn't a drinker at that time, but I don't know. I think I'm not too sure. It was about 8pence, something
pretty
like
good.
that. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I wasn't drinking at the time. I didn't drink till I was 32. And I'm not sorry for that. I like that drink.
Absolutely.
Well, a
right.
bottle of stout, whatever it is. Yeah.
But tell me this now, you were there at the transition now from the horse to the tractor. The horses were dying out. The tractor
Yeah.
was coming in.
Yeah, the tractor. The tractor thing was, there was a man up the road here by the name of Johnny Jones, Lord mercy on him, and he had a Ferguson tractor. And I was all the time wanting to get up on the tractor. And I'd knowledge the tractor before that, but not to take command of them, to drive it, as it were. So I went up to Johnny when he was getting disced for corn, and he said, Barney, did you want to go? Yes, says I'll have a spin of that. So he stood down on the headland, he put me up on the tractor. He said, don't go too tight to the ditch now, keep well out, I'll do that. So I got up on the tractor anyway, and away I goes, tractor mad after. And went then to work after that then for a man in Lusk by the name of Lord mercy on George McAnally.
Oh, yeah.
The hired trucks and all that done on. He bought a new Ferguson. TVO Ferguson. New plough, new harrow, new grubbers, new everything for it. I was with George for 4 or 5 years. And the tractor was my job then. There was a man working at that time named Kit Russell, Labrador Kit. Kit was the horseman, a very good one.
Yes.
That'd be Jemmy's, and then the father at that time. Yeah. So poor Kit and Arnie Mercy wasn't too keen on the tractor. The tractor, I'd have the tractor with the hay shed, and maybe the cart would be in there, and maybe the cart would be in behind the tractor. Because I might come in later than he'd be coming in the evenings when we'd be finishing up, and I'd dip in the tractor and put it in front of the cart, not deliberately, it would just be the way it would come that way. And Kate would be always very early start in the mornings, and I'd be maybe a little bit late. And a little bit late that time would be 10 minutes, other than that she'd be told to go home. But anyway, so that was grand. So the next thing was, Kit one morning met me up the yard after coming in. Hey Barney, he said, would you ever take that melodeon out of me way? I said, melodeon? I don't melodeons. That grey melodeon down, that blooming tractor, he says. Right out, Kit, so I'll take it away now. And away I goes. He went out the road and down by Congav, just to Ruckalowan to plough. And I was going down to plough with the tractor. So he ploughed an acre, a half an acre, whatever it was in the day, and I ploughed 3 acres with the tractor.
Well,
there was the sort of difference.
The writing was on the wall.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But Kit remained on there till he decided to finish up anyway. And I was working with George then. I was with George mostly in the lorry as a helper, and loading hay, loading straw, loading everything and all that. And the next thing was, he said to me one Saturday, he had a grinder in there for grinding oats for all the farmers, for cattle and all that. And he says, would you be able to go to Dublin with that lorry? And poor Bruton sweeping, Crit sweeping, Bruton to call him, lived across the road from George. And Kit was supposed to be coming with me. It was Saturday after dinner to a yard that he had taken there and done for all that stuff done, cuffs. And next thing was, yes, I said, I'll go. So anyway, went out the road in the car, being too careful. I went down the road anyway in the lorry, and when I went down to Murray's corner, I met the bus. And I got stuck in Cora's wall.
Oh, great.
Yeah, the pin at the tail of the side boot got stuck in Cora's wall. Cora looked down. Oh, she, you're all right. She only marked it. It's all right. Go ahead. So Bruton went on into Dublin anyway and got the loaded drum, come back anyway, and went to Tones of Courtland up here where he dealt with cattle. Up to Tones of Courtland anyway and threw off the drum and came back that evening into the yard. Old time to work. There was 7 o'clock finishing time, 9. So he said to me, George said to me, well, hey, you got back anyway. Oh, yes, I got back. A little bit of an accident, says I. We got stuck in Cora's wall, kept too tight, but there's no harm done. The spud of the thing is only just barely bent. So he looked at it, he said, that's okay. So Bruton standing back looking under his hands on his hips like that, and he says, you may get someone else to go with him the next time. I'm not going because, well, if you force me to go, he says, I'm bringing the rosy page. Yeah. So I was with George for a length of time then, all right, a good while, loading hay, loading everything. Yes. I liked that. Then I got to driving the lorry down with cattle and all that. Driving cattle in a lorry with crates on at that time wasn't like a solid load, as you know. No, the cattle would be moving about the truck, and you had to have experience of handling the truck on a bend or anything and know how to do it. And also with hay, when the hay maybe you'd be falling to one side or the other, you had to go, and we often had to pull into a manhole. Shannon Grating to get out of the lorry and pull the ropes to pull the load back to level it up. All them sort of things. Yeah. So that
you needed a feel for the job you were at a given time.
Pardon?
You had to have a feel for the job you were at.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right.
Tell me this now, just before we move along from the farming end of things, to go back to, we'll say, to Paddy Maguire or to John Moons, a typical day in the spring of the year, we'd say. And you just go through it now from rolling in it. What time would you start in the morning?
In the morning. Well, Paddy Maguire was like most people. There wasn't many people with old time, but Paddy, you'd be in at 8 o'clock.
Right.
In the morning, and you go off to do your work, and the bell would ring. You wouldn't leave that field until the bell in Lusk would ring 12 o'clock. Yes. And you stuck the fork in the ground or wherever you were working and went up across the field, and you went into the shed. And you got your cup of tea, brought you out a cup of tea and all, and you had your lunch yourself, your own lunch and all, you had that in the shed.
Yes.
And you went back then, even the things they were very strict all that time about time, which was a great thing. You know, at 1 o'clock, you had to be getting up from the thing and walking down to the field, or you'd 10 to 1, you'd have to leave to walk down the field to be back to where you started within the hour, or on the hour. Yeah, at 1. And 6 o'clock was the time finishing.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
You did your what was it, 10-hour day?
Yeah.
Okay, with an hour for the lunch. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hard going. They're definitely on it. Then the big change. You left it all behind you.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was another thing then, working wise. Then I went from George's then to. They were looking for helpers. Kelly's Portlee, steel erecting hay barns.
Yes.
So I got a hands for one of the rectors that was doing a job locally here. I don't know where he was. He was down Kelly's Quick Pennies to want to put up a shed. And I went down. So here you're looking for lads. Yes, Barney, they're looking for a few erectors, all right. So they're short. They're very busy. There's a lot of work to be done. There was a government grant.
For
Whatever it
hay barns.
was at the time, for every farm, for the farmer, they put up the shed, you get a grant of
Yes.
whatever it was, £30 or something, which was a good bit of money, I suppose, at the time. But they all went mad at that, and I mean, they all got their sheds up. So I rang the lads and went down to Portlaoise and met the boss man and foreman, and says yes, this and the other. So he sent me off with a lad from the yard, and I was out for about, nearly the first year I was out with him. And he was learning me how to put up the shed, put up the girders, put up the wall plates, and put up the skeleton, put on the galvanised, do the lane twos, put in the floors, do the whole lot. So anyway, very keen on that. So I was all over the place. I was all over Ireland, in fact, some part of North of Ireland as well. Used to only get home once a month. That time, we had no bicycles or anything, but, and we used to have to get the train from wherever we be, or the bus.
Yes.
And get home here, then it'd be Friday night, and you get home, and then you'd have Saturday, and then you'd have to set off for Sunday at dinner hour to get yourself back to wherever you were after been working.
Hard
to
going.
get back again. So you done that. So that was it. One of the best of places. A lot of places got well fed and all. But the hay barns that time was you'd only put up one hay barn, 2-eye hay barn in the week. Because it was all punch job. It wasn't like nowadays what they have. Well, the head sheds are gone well up there, a lot of them, but they're all drills now. They're drilling the house. But that time you had to punch with a hammer.
Yes.
And there was fair heavy go work. So
Must
you
have
just
been.
done the two leagues in the week, getting
Yes.
the good weather. And the thing was that the money for that was £29
Big change.
for the whole week.
Definitely.
But
a
that was
big
heavy
change from
going, yeah.
farm wages.
And there was no such thing as time on that. What we used to have to do was, what we would do is for to get out of the place, the sooner you got it up and got away,
Yes.
you were the benefit.
Absolutely.
But sometimes the weather at the beach and things at the beach, you got help. But anyway, the €29 for that, and if you got two of them together, you get the two up in the week if you got them close together.
Yes, fair enough.
Because one farmer was helping the other, and you just had to throw the scaffold across the ditch into the other lad. So I was with Kelly's then. I started off on my own then the following year. I was with Kelly's then. I was with them for 15 or 16 years, steel erecting.
Yes.
And heavy work and all, getting up the girders and all. The biggest man would be always to the back, and the smallest lad, which was myself, was to the front.
Yes.
And a lot of farmers would say, God, don't leave that chap with that girder. Christ, maybe there'd be wind blowing. Don't leave that chap with that girder. Christ, the father, he'd be killed. And the thing was that I was so worried and so well able.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing about it was that I was so used to balance.
Yes.
I could hear the wind. I knew the way the wind was blowing. And the wind would be blowing again. I was standing there and the wind was blowing this way. I'd keep further against the wind like that. But I wouldn't let it push it against the wind. I'd hold it to the wind. And then, you see, you had it that it wouldn't move no way. And in goes the barrel of concrete. And then goes in a barrel of stones. The stones is still a great man with concrete. It strengthens the concrete. And it's them that work would know that. And up it comes up, and the hole will be 4 foot deep by 2.5 foot square for the girder.
Yes.
And once you got up halfway, it's the girder then would stand on its own.
Perfect.
And we finished up, polished it all up there, and it'll stand on its own. Level it and plumb it with a lion.
Yes.
Up you go, do the whole lot the way you go there. And that's what started with then. Up ladders and up scaffold the way you go. Apparently, I was like a cat up and run back apart. Yeah.
And those sheds are still perfect and standing up there to the day.
Pardon?
Those sheds are still perfect.
Yeah, there's a lot of them still standing up, but unfortunately, I go down to country, go a bit Irish traditional music, and all down in Ennistimon and all Clare and all like Galway. But I find now today, and not just today, a while back, it's good while I'm going down there now, and the grands, the sheds, 2-eye sheds, 3-eye sheds, all sizes of sheds, and lean-tos, just empty. Nothing sitting in all the money, maybe a trailer load of turf.
Something like that.
Something like that, it's all gone.
The farming's changed.
Yeah, and lovely houses belonging to that farm, grand single-storey house or maybe 2-storey houses, and the curtain's still on the windows, and the grass and the weeds growing up all around the whole place.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a sign of the times.
Yeah. So I was with them then for a good while. Then I went to work. The Lord Mercy is only. I went to got engaged there to get married, so things were starting to get serious
Pressure
now.
was
So
on you.
yeah, so in 1962 I got married. But prior to that, I was working for Bartle Grimes. Poor Bartle, he only died recently.
That's right.
And worked for him there. There was tax man there with him there for a number of years. So after that, then I went to work with the Fingal County Council.
Yes.
And Fingal County Council, with them on the roads around Lusk and everywhere, I'd scuffled with a team of men. And next thing was, I was after working in Technicon prior to that, but in Swords, and I was doing part of store work up there, and the next thing they were looking for storeman in Barbrigan Depot. And in Barbrigan, they were looking for a storeman there. So we're going to start stores going because it was operating, it was taken in Garrettstown and Barbrigan, a whole lot, Lusk and all. So I said, yeah, right, I'll take it on. So they put me in there for 6 months for trial. So next thing was I got a full pay packet and for 6 months. So we were there to stay. So I was there for 19 years.
That was fantastic.
And I retired there,
It's
and
one
14 years retired now.
Right.
Yeah, and a small little pension there with that and all that, so I'm happy enough.
Well, you look like you're definitely retired under false pretense. You told me you were 72, I hardly believe you. You told me you're 52, I would believe you.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
how it is.
Well, the other thing then, some people just ask me now and again, you know, how are you so fit? Well, says I, I'm not going to throw any bouquets at myself for that, but says I, it's as simple as this, says I hope there's more like me in the country as is this. I was never sick. I was never in hospital. I never took medications. I took nothing.
Right.
My body is the body I was born with.
That's good
Nothing
arrangement.
went through my body, only food and what
And
it
you
takes
didn't take it too
what it takes to
seriously.
feed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, another topic, Barney, and you did touch on it there a few minutes ago, music.
Yeah.
Very
The
important in your
music
life.
the music thing was there's years ago, I suppose when I was here in the old Thatched House years ago, I was the age of 5 and 6 and 7, all along the line up there until whatever. I went to go to work there and I drifted away from a little bit. But prior to that, the man I mentioned earlier on was Mick McGuinness up here.
Yes.
And Mick had a gramophone. And some of the children there, he had grandchildren used to be in and to be looking at it and listening to it and all. And sort of people we were at that time, and still a little bit the same.
Yes.
You didn't go into anybody's house without being asked in.
Fair
You know,
enough,
you
yes.
don't land in and they take it without. Yeah, you're asked in. And he come by one day from work and he stopped, got off the bicycle, he stopped outside the gate and he says, "Come here, me lad." I was afraid I was going to get on to me. He says, "Come up tonight." He says, I'm putting on I'm putting on the gramophone. Yeah, come up. And the girls are up here. We wanted to see him do a bit of dancing. So I went up anyway, and then he had the gramophone on. And he had the Siege of Venice on, the reels and the jigs and the hornpipes and everything. Yes, we're all dancing and learned how to dance and all the rest of it off the gramophone. So it went on from there. And the next thing was then I got to know about the dance of the footwork.
Yes.
And being light as I am, I could hop like a bird. So the next thing was I said, used to go to Irish traditional music here and there.
Yes.
And Dad says, I'll have a go at that. So we used to go to Ballybackle, over there to Ballybackle. Mr. Jimmy Kitzler, mercy on him, and all. Dave O'Connor's still there. All the lads. Pure Thomas Blackland died recently, he was the carryman. So we got the lads together, and I said, "Look, will you come and play?" Says I got booking, says I, if we want to go. I don't know about money, but says I, over to Loch Shinny. Yeah, when? It's next Saturday night. Yes, right. So we went on the way. 4 or 5 of us were over and we played away. So we got no money, we got a few drinks and a cup of tea. And we were there for 3 or 4 weeks. And I thought, next thing was, the lad said, "Barney, I think we should be getting a few bob." So I said, "Yeah, right, we get a few bob." Says I, "What'll I ask?" "Sir, I don't know, you do that, you look after that." So I said to him, "So give me £60. "God, I won't." He says, "That's a lot of money," he says. "Sure, there might be nobody here, but says I, with our crowd say this place will be packed." I knew the quality of the boys, you see, and they had the real stuff. So we got going out, we played all over the place.
Yes.
Had the 5 lads, Irish traditional music all over the place. And Lusk with Cora and Conrad and Loch Shinny and all over the whole place, and we went along. We were at that for 16 years until the breathalyzer came in, and then one of the lads got caught. And that we lost him.
That
So
blew
that
it
we
apart.
we broke up then, but
Yes.
we met and we still do meet occasionally.
Good
So,
enough
but
for
I
him.
did start up here in McGuinness's house.
Yes.
That's where it started.
That was the foundation of the
Yeah,
band.
and
I've
then
seen you in
anywhere I
action.
go then, anywhere, and especially into Lusk, where with Cora. Cora said to me one night, she says, we were playing, and she says, Barney, she says, poor Nick McDonald, the Lord of Mercy was there, and Fran half of the Lord of Mercy was there. And they were always there for Friday night. Friday night was the night we were playing.
Yes.
And there was a grand crowd, and the music brought a nice little crowd into it. So it was coming there at 11 o'clock, I think half 11 was close time. She says, Barney, I want to do an Irish dance, she says. Nick wants you to do an Irish dance. God's sake, Cora, sure I can't do an Irish dance. How can I step dance side the carpet? You'll step dance there, over there. So got over anyway where there was a bit of tiles at the counter. And I don't know, so there's not much room. Well, she says, if you don't get out and dance here tonight, she says, for Nick and for us, she says, you play here in an hour. I got a bit panicky then. I got my feet going. Yes. Gave your man the word to start her. I start her up. I'm still dancing. Yeah. So I was delighted with it. And poor Nick McDonald, the Lord of Mercy on him, was sitting there with Fran, and Nick called me over when it was finished. And he said, hey, Barney, come here. I went over anyway. And, yes, Nick. He says, Barney, he says, God, you're not bad at it, he says, but you're not as good as you was. Oh, God, Nick says, I am not 21 anymore.
Right.
I was 70 nearly at the time. Well, I was 65 at the time. Yeah. So that was the story of that one.
Oh, definitely, no.
Yeah.
I want to lower the tone of this conversation now at this stage. I want to talk about your ass.
Oh, the
And
donkey.
your ass now has been on more page 3s than many a page 3 girl. Well, that donkey of yours was famous, and you were famous along with him. What brought you or tempted you to get into the donkey business?
Well, as I was saying earlier on there about animals and that, I was always into the animals, and going down the country a good bit and all of that, and the travelling people. I sat in the bottom of a ditch in the Yalla Hill here years ago, come from work, with Jemmy, the Lord Mercy, Jemmy Rogan, and at night time, and the travellers would be down sitting on the Yalla Hill and the bottom of the ditch with a big fire going, and their big carts and everything else, and covered up in the tent. And I often stopped and they'd say good night to me and everything else, and I would stop talking to them. And they said, sit down there, and a big lump of a stick. And I sat down on the stick and was talking to them. I come home, Mammy was nearly going to throw me out. She says, you're rotten. So I was up, she said, the smell of fire at you.
Yes.
So anyway, that was all right. And that's how I come to, and I had a donkey down there and all, talking about donkeys and all. So the next thing was, there was a man, had a donkey for sale. Vincent White beyond in Clahertown.
Oh, yes.
And he says, I went over one Sunday. Yes, he says, I have. So I went over this Sunday and bought the donkey and the cart and the harness for £125. And I had this in my head for to go on the parades, because I was out to be looking at parades and everything else. I said, God, I should get something here now and go on parades. So I went to the parades, and no matter where I went, and the parades, even up to the present time, last year I got out, I was still wasn't a scary one. I had a chat about excursion to us, go around, because they all like to see it.
Yes.
Well, I was swamped with children.
Naturally.
The biggest problem I had was the children was keeping them from putting their feet under the wheel of the cart. So
Yes.
all around it. Well, I'm mad about the donkey and cart, and then I got the gypsy's wagon.
Yes.
I got that,
Indeed.
and that was very nice. So it went down a bomb, and anyone still to the present day, he'll always give me a ring up when a couple of pals say, Barney, are you going on the parade this year? You go, I'll go, just go. And I would go, I was going, because for the children's sake.
Well, of course, it's a marvellous
So I've
thing to
lovely
do.
stuff there. There's some lovely stuff there I have in the window from that.
Yes.
That's from from Lusk.
Right,
That's
I
a
know.
plaque thing. Yeah, all that stuff is
Oh,
all
that's
from the
great.
donkeys. I have a whole load of stuff from the donkeys from the various clubs.
Indeed. And then after that, you have as well, what you might call a mechanical donkey, the grey Massey Ferguson tractor. as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And you're doing great work with
Well,
that.
we're dealing with that now. I'm interested in the ploughing and all. There's a ploughing match coming up now shortly over there at Leas Cross.
Yes.
The County Dublin one and the County Meath one. And I'm going over there to that. We wouldn't be going for to get medals or anything, but we entered into there's a vintage class.
Yes.
And I'd entered into the vintage class, and I'd want to be as good as I was years ago. I wasn't bad at it, but you'd forget a lot of the setting of a plough.
Well,
And
sure you
you'd
would.
forget a lot of setting.
But-
So you can't be forgetting nowadays. It's all very modernised, and they've all special ploughs, and it's not a good thing at all in my book. It should be left the way it was. They've all extra attachments to the plough, and you could really do nothing, only do good ploughing.
Well, absolutely.
sort
right.
of thing,
It's
you know.
unavoidable.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of setting with the ordinary old vintage joke.
Well,
you know.
the skill of the
Yeah.
man rather than the
Yeah.
sophistication of the machine.
Yeah, so the tractor went on there for the tractor then, and the Ferguson comes along, and the lads were saying one day there was the local hunt was on up here in the Man of War 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know how long it was. I think it was around, yeah, it would be 4 years ago, or third annual thing. So anyway, I went up to me, the hunt was on of a Friday, which would be normal practice, Friday afternoon. And they come for a good while here now, they come to here, and then they go to a rotary, they chop it around Balloch and all.
Yes.
But I was always interested in the horse. And the donkey, I used to get a great laugh with the donkey. When the horses would be coming down the road for to go off on their hunt, the horse, the shoe was clapping on the road, the donkey would get very excited. And he'd run around the field. I thought he was going to go through the ditch. Right? He'd left the field about 10 times. The horses would be gone out of the sound.
Want to go hunting
Yeah,
as well.
But the tractor, this day anyway, I said to the lads above the Man of War this particular Friday night, till the hunt was out of down, sorry lads, what was the after today? Apparently there wasn't after anything. Sure, you know this new regulation, you can't hunt, you can't this. On God's side, I didn't know anything about that. Oh, well, that's the way it is. So what were they after? I'm after telling you they weren't after anything. They were on a dummy run. Ah. Oh, see, I think he says it was for charity or something. Oh, sorry, that's a very good idea. Regarding while I was drinking me drink, they were talking to me and I wasn't listening to them. I was building up in my mind what to do with the tractor.
Yes.
God, says I, if they can do that, says I, for charity, we can do something. And I being a member and attached to the Fingal Vintage Society, and the Fingal Vintage Society goes for a run every couple of times, 3 or 4 times a year, for all members. Well, for a voluntary run all around the country. And there's nothing involved. God, says I, get some all these lads now together, and I think so I'll organise something. So I went to a man, Michael High.
Yes.
And Michael, I was thinking out, yeah, he says, that's good. See, what are you thinking of, who are you thinking of doing it for? So I didn't think of anybody, so I was just thinking to get them together, so I will be interested in going and no matter what they're for. God, he says, see, there's a lot of charities, he says, but see, the one I'd recommend you go for, says he, is St. Francis Hospital, Raheny.
Absolutely, the best
God,
cause
says
ever.
I, that's a great idea. Right, he says, no problem, see, whatever hand you want, that great man, gives plenty of hand, plenty of taxes to runs and all. So I started off there, put out the word, got the thing going, got to the papers, got to everything, got it going. And the first year we had 70 or 8 tractors, and we had, I think it was 7,000 or thereabouts, 7,000 odd. And last year we had nearly 8. This year, which wasn't a great year because the roads were very bad. Last year we had 131 tractors. This year we had 87 tractors. But we had a raffle, an open raffle, books tickets.
Yes.
Took in a lot of money. That made up for the difference if the fall of the tractors, they couldn't come because of the road conditions.
Yes.
Because they're all very good for this. It's not because of who's running around, it's because that is for the hospice.
Yeah.
That's very important. Yeah, it's charity, you see, which is very good. So it's going on, see. So this year now, we just have finished up with it there now, money-wise and all, about a month ago. We gave them a cheque for nearly 9,000.
That's a fantastic thing.
Nearly
really
9,000, yeah. And that's the photographs that are outside the Man of War there, all the
Yes.
working the people there on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of all that sort of thing. It's a wonderful thing. I'll tell you, Barney, you're a man of boundless energy. I don't know, wherever you're taken, I want to take it as well.
Yeah.
And you're a credit to yourself and to the community that you're in. You obviously never learned anything that you ever forgot.
No, that's right.
There's no getting away from it. And I know we could go on for another hour on tape.
You could. We're
But-
going on a while. Well, I don't mind. I could talk for ages.
You could talk for Ireland.
As they used to say years ago, hey, Barney, say what? You have a gift to the gab.
You have
So
that,
I think
all right.
I think I'll accept that one.
Listen, I tell you, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Barney. We'll do
Thanks
it
very
again.
much,
We'll
Shane.
do it again
More
sometime.
than welcome. No problem.